Greetings, everyone. Hope you're doing well this evening. It's a beautiful one. Nice sunset going down. What I want to talk about is, though there are many, many women mentioned in the Bible, and a lot that I will mention based on this book, which was originally published in 1955. And the older the better when it comes to books. But what I have found is that if you really look closely and consider the prophecy, that though there are many women spoken of, there is one woman that this is alluding to. And there are other women spoken of, however, speaking of the one, the chosen, the bride of Christ, so the Bible calls her. But she is the Queen of Heaven, the Great Mother, God's wife, so to speak, the chosen one. And her story and what she has to endure in her suffering is spoken of in this. And when you consider just the women of the Bible, but also other women in her story, which is just one that has occurred many, many times. And so I'm just going to go over this a little bit. We're going to go through women in the foreground, women in their alphabetical listing of their names, and women in the background. And first, the woman of the dawn. And instead of the names, I'm just going to read the description, and you'll see there's a trend kind of going here. In his own image, mother of nations, the woman who looked back, mother of twins, Esau and Jacob, mother of 12 tribes of Israel. And he dishonored her. She hath been more righteous than I, because thou art his wife. And this is woman of Israel's heroic age. By faith, she hid her baby, wife of Moses, the great lawgiver. Sing unto the Lord. They declared their rights. Woman of faith who aided Joshua's army. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? Example of noble submission. Entice him and see where his strength lies. The faithful daughter-in-law. The prayerful mother, a mother without hope. And then women in the days of the kings. King Saul's daughter, David's first wife, a woman of good understanding, a cave woman who told fortunes, a mother who guards sons' dead bodies, mother of Solomon, give her the living child. She came to prove, and women in an era of political decline. Her name is a synonym for wickedness. See, thy son liveth, the great woman, only woman ever to rule over Judah. Thus saith the Lord, for such a time as this, her price is far above rubies, the virtuous woman. Women in Christ's time. Blessed among women, mother of John the Baptist, first to acclaim the Christ. The Master is come, and Jesus healed all of them. She occasioned the beheading of John the Baptist, and John the Baptist was not beheaded according to Fox's Book of Martyrs from 1923, but more on that later. O woman, great is thy faith. Ye know not what ye ask. God is a spirit. See, he is risen. Have thou nothing to do with that just man? And then women in the early years of the church. They labored with and for Jesus. Money became her God. A woman full of good works. First Christian convert in Europe. A leader in the New Testament church. A deaconess of Centrea, 2 evil sisters who helped condemn Paul, the mother and grandmother of Timothy. And here we have alphabetical listing of women's names, but this book also has short pieces of information regarding these women. There's also chronological listings of the nameless women. So the women that we don't have names for, but we have stories, parables, or situations for each of these women that seem to align with different parts of human existence, mythology, life, testimony. Okay, so obviously we've got a lot of wives. We've got 400 young wives here, concubines, people's, the harem, which I do want to say that the word virgin does not have anything to do with human sexual contact. It actually has, it means a woman with a pure heart, no original sin, that has never been married. So she's perfect for the harem, so the king can take her assets, and she's a beautiful young woman with no man to protect her. So there you have your virgins. Now we have chronological nameless women in the background, as far as, like I said, daughters, wives, mothers, concubines, women, different women. And then we have widows. We've got the mother whose hour is come, the mother of the blind son, can't see a son. All of these are in, metaphorically speaking. And we got the wise woman going back, the unbelieving woman, the widow whose oil was multiplied, the inopportunate widow, tattlers and busybodies, wise-hearted women, women assembling at tabernacle, woman patriot of Thebes, harlot of Gaza, young maidens going out to draw water, woman with tabrets, women of Endor, nurse who let child fall, the wench, the Bahamian woman, the wise woman of Abel, pagan goddesses, the little maid, the woman of Proverbs, woman whose heart ensnares, the Shulamite sweetheart, virgin prophesied, careless woman at ease, queen of heaven, woman weeping for Tammuz, woman who sews silos at armholes, woman with leaven, woman with 7 husbands, 2 women at the mill, 10 wise and foolish virgins, maid at high priest's house, many women were there, 3 sick women, sinful woman, woman her lisp and her voice, woman with lost piece of silver, woman of Samaria, adulterous woman, honorable and devout women, a certain damsel, Nereus' sister, the unmarried woman, woman in the churches, woman professing godliness, silly women, aged women, holy women, the letter to the elect lady in the second epistle of John, and the woman in Revelations 12. So obviously there's, definitely a theme going here when you think about the hidden meanings of the women in the background. And for the most of us, we really only hear about things like Jezebel, Jezebel, Lot's wife, negative connotations for women, the prostitute. There are a lot of good women as far as, Esther, and I am trying to get to a different part here. There's, a political age, an age of kings, and so it really gives you some good information. A mother without hope. A lot of these come into play with the experiences of the one who is called the bride. Okay, so we'll just go to the Queen of Heaven. Was an ancient Semitic goddess in whose honor the Hebrews of Jeremiah's period made cakes, burned incense, and poured out drink offerings. Probably she was the Phoenician or Canaanite goddess Ashereth or the Babylonian Ishtar. Easter comes from the word Ishtar, which means resurrection. Many figurines of these and other goddesses have been dug up in archaeological explorations. And a careless woman at ease. Careless women at ease are admonished to rise up and hear God's voice and give ear unto his speech. And there is the warning that the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come for those who are careless and indolent. And the virgin prophesied. Isaiah made this prophecy at least 7 centuries before Christ that a virgin would conceive and bear a son, and his name would become Emmanuel. The word S-O-N in the translation is actually S-U-N. And Emmanuel is, I think it has something to do with the morning star, but like I said, a lot of metaphors. The Shulamite sweetheart. Seductive temptations, pledging love to a faithful woman, a woman brought to the king. She was protesting, he was forcing her into the harem, and she did not wish to become one of the many wives. She wished to remain faithful to her own lover. Even though there are 3 attempts of the king to win her, there's a strong tribute to the man she loves anyway. There's doves represented in this, a symbolism marriage. Many scholars interpret it in a mystical and allegorical sense by a Song of Solomon, once again representing the Queen of Heaven. So, there's so much more, for sure, that I could definitely read out of this book. I just got it and haven't finished yet, but there's definitely a lot to talk about. When you think about the prophecy of today and the actual experience of a human / divine being who had a terrible life experience but has become clean and beautiful in the eyes of God, that has cleaned out and cleared these 7 devils, aka her 7 chakras. And that was made possible by trusting her divine guidance and spiritual path, that just because she read something and everyone else believed it doesn't mean it was true. And she had to find the truth herself, not only by finding information, but by trusting and knowing. Because when one has an allegorical, we'll say, union with the divine, everything changes. And that is the healing energy of the light, of Christ energy. It is not hating people, being divided and being egotistical and jealous and envious and cruel, slanderous, and, just ways that aren't for us. That is the kind of woman that most men have come to believe that is existent in most of the world, but that's actually part of all of this MK Ultra brainwashing control we've been under, specifically in the western part of the world. But it's time to open our eyes and minds and hearts to the truth. And that's exactly what's coming in. Have a good evening.